Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to explain you what my final project consists on. The first thing that I have to consider in this presentation is where do I teach? The school where I teach is called Escuela Secundaria Diurna, número 253, José Natividad Macías, and this school is a public school located in Iztapalapa, Maryland. Okay, in this school, I work with students. The students' profile is the third grade. The students are between 14 and 15 years old. And something important that I have to mention in this part is when pandemic started, students due that students had a low level in English subject. For that reason, I started working or linking this project under the methodology that is going to be schema theory. Schema theory focuses more on students receiving new vocabulary by giving clues or pieces to a pupil to assimilate new vocabulary. This process is interesting because students know every part of the noun, know every part of the vocabulary that they have to understand, they have to learn, or even memorize. Apart from the methodology, the topic of the lesson plan is going to be divided into receptive skills, listening, and speaking. Even though they are not receptive at all, I try to link those skills, listening, in order to they immediately produce something. And the first part, they receive, and the next part, they speak. For example, related to listening skills, we work with music, general music around the world, and the class consists of learning new musical genre. And this part, I try to link interculturality and expressing likes and dislikes. In the first part, they draw a cloud and they try to fill with music genre like they know. And in the second part, they watch a video related to music genre and complete this cloud with new vocabulary. Okay, where is the schematic theory here? It is not, but they understood a new vocabulary related to music. What about next? Okay, this topic was opinion on musical genres. Okay, that part, this part in the left slide is related to listening skills, and the right part, it is what opinion of music genre, and I work with speaking skills. They used the topic likes and dislike. The students gave opinions about music genre. And as you can see in this part, they work with a mini conversation and in different colors. They color the gender, and another color they color how is this gender. For example, hip hop can be horrible for these students. Electronic for this student is amazing, and classical music is soft. And I have students A and students B. They have to read and complete. For example, I like classic music because it is soft. And in this way, they express their opinion. Okay, continue with this part. The next one, and the part number 2, sorry, they produce. Okay, and the first part was reading, and the next part is going to be writing part. And I complete, or I follow this one. Okay, what about reading? Reading was they received a sheet about education system in other countries, and students have to read and make a comparative table about education in Mexico and in other countries. In the whole text, they read about China, Germany, USA, and British, and even more. And they try to do a comparison chart about the most important or the most relevant about education in other countries. For example, in other countries they have equal opportunities, and in Mexico it is not possible. Dual education, for example, diverse and includes both traditional methods and something important that is the most relevant institution. And for example, in Mexico we have the most, and in other part it can be Oxford or something like that. Okay, continue with the writing part. They first, and the first step, understood how they have to write. And they understood the free writing about the most important aspect of a country. It was kind of blank, and there was a kind of blank in this part because in written part, they knew specific, they work with specific information about the system, educational system in countries. And in this part, in the writing, was general information about this country, general aspect like the food, like the holiday, also religion, traditions, and even more. But we try to focus on the most relevant part that was education system. And in this part, they work in teams. Students work together, and students wrote about the most important aspect of a country. And in this picture, you can see students writing, that the student is writing about Canada. They draw maybe two flags. One is a flag. They try to link this flag with English language and French with French language. And they have to write in this big shed the most important, for example, religion, food, and more aspects, as I mentioned. Okay, continue with this part. What was the structure of the lesson and main racial relation behind them? For example, listening. As we know, listening is a critical skill that plays a significant role in effective communication. I'm gonna sum this letter lesson plan, and as you can see, I have the beginning, the development, and the ending. I explained this in this part, as you remember, the students draw a clown, and it was a brainstorm. The students have to participate. And for example, continue with the development. They listen for just they had assessment. They face an assessment, and the ending they practice in English for detail. Also, we're testing. Okay, and this structure was the way that we work with the students' skills and soft skills were put into practice. I'm going to move on this part because it is, for example, a student focus on listening to an audio several times to answer specific information. It was the assessment that they faced. Okay, and the instruction is watch the video and listen genre music and complete the cloud. Okay, they first of all they knew the vocabulary, they identified different music genre, and the instruction is listen to a group of friends discuss what kind of music they can listen on their trip, giving you a little context. There are a group of friends and they are deciding what kind of music genre can play when while they are driving. And for example, I have the speaker, I have the person, I have even the friend through one. And for example, listen several times. They gave order to this part. This is a long drive. Let's choose some. Okay, and students have to listen several times and decide if it was friend one, friend two, friend three, and more. Okay, continue also with the speaking part, as I mentioned, and as I gave you the explanation of how they work. Okay, speaking is totally natural. Speaking is a language, and also students express. Remember, students express their opinion about like and dislike. I'm gonna assume this part. What happened in the beginning? In the beginning, they it was listening skill, and first of all, they remember vocabulary. Okay, What about the development? The development was grammar. And in grammar, they understood tongues like I like pop music because it is amazing. I don't like rock because it is heavy and something like this. And also, they work with fluency and pronunciation at the end, and they were evaluated in this part. Continue with reading. Reading is a part of the writing. Okay, reading is understanding writing tense, meaning extracting the required information for as fluency as possible. And I'm going to explain my lesson plan, how was the class structure. And for example, at the beginning was pre-reading, developing what during reading, and the ending when after reading. Okay, something important to consider is the skill of subject is scan the text. Also, they read the text and read the text again. It was guiding. I guide the students in this part, and we make different in vocabulary and in grammar, verbs in a specific um, in a specific in a specific details. Okay, and the ending was reflect understanding, complete a task, and in this task they have to use this sub skill that is scanning. And the students read and understand the text about education system in the work. In the next slide, I'm going to explain you in detail how was the structure of the evaluating. The evaluating part was assessment and testing. Okay, again, about this one. Okay, description, assessment. It was in listening. How was the testing? Sorry, I used this one. That is, answer the following question in the audio and choose A, B, or C. I use the same audio. I use the same listening audio, but I switch this part of how can I evaluate. Okay, number one, who likes hip hop music? And there are different options, A, B, C, D, friend three, friend one, friend two, and following the script that they have previously, they work easily in this part. I'm going to move to the other part. What about speaking? And speaking, I use a rubric and I try to evaluate the topic that is grammar, that is coherence, vocabulary, fluency, and pronunciation. And as you can see, maybe in the speech, my students are a grammar perfect, coherence also perfect, and they use the vocabulary properly, but maybe fluency and pronunciation didn't work well. I'm going to move to reading part. This is a short answer, and as I told you previously, students here use scanning soft skills. Students write the country to which the education system corresponds. And I'm going to give you something important. I'm going to say you something important mention that, for example, which education system is. And I use this as clue, also our key. Renault is successful and teachers have significant autonomy. Okay, they read and they have to scan this information that is colored, and immediately the students uh, located this one. Okay, number two, which education system has respect for teachers and the authority? Okay, students didn't have to read the whole text. They have to specific. They have to be specific in this part that is respect for teachers and the authority. And what is only for them, they enjoy the class and they didn't get bored because this part of reading and in reading and writing can be really long, extensive, and the students get used to bored. Finally, what about the writing text? Okay, they have to write, they have to produce on a big sheet. Okay. And description of outcomes. Okay, I have to mention by working with the four skills, the students better understood the use of English. But something important is that I faced of something that was the time. Okay, I thought that one ability could be covered mm, um, with one class, but it was not. For example, it took me 2 or 3 classes working with reading and writing. Speaking and listening was really easy, but what happened with the outcomes that was input and output, students understand vocabulary through images and also using this one that is schema theory. Students express themselves through chunks. We use schema and scamming, reading in details, and we identify or color keywords, writing a text that they use a free writing and previously they were taught, button up processing and listening for gist. What about my students have learned? My students learn a lot in the 4 abilities, and they work really hard, really fast, because I was behind them, moving like, okay, go ahead, okay, you can do it, okay, read again, okay, you can even use a dictionary if you didn't get the word. Okay, what about pronunciation, fluency, and intonation? We work it, but to be honest, it didn't we work, but it didn't work. Okay, so we need extra classes to work those skills and soft skills. The important part is that my students can say or give options and justify that with reason why you like or why you didn't like. Okay, so they understand how to write, they identify adjectives versus verbs, and how to read. This one that were soft skills. Okay, reflections. What is the most important aspects that I have learned? I've learned working with the 4 skills was include methodology, include this part that is soft skills and soft skills, skills and soft skills, sorry, in my lesson plan. And students also can produce the language by themselves. Um, be patient and give the students time to produce or and also give feedback to them. And the next part is what I reflect my challenge that I faced in this specialization. Number one, be really mm, this word is like disciplined, be self-taught, organized, take into my consideration skills and soft skills, follow the steps of a lesson plan to make it easier for students. And something that I learned in this specialization is to be really prepared to teach or to work with a second language using maybe authors, schools or thoughts, and also theories, approaches, and skills and soft skills, as I mentioned previously. And that's it. That's it, class. So I hope that you can understand what is my point, what is my purpose of this. It was a really big challenge. I tried to do my best, and I think that I complete. So, that's all that I can say.